Yo, so we got routine welfare checks that lead to a horrific discovery. Alright, so we don't usually react to crime videos. If y'all fuck with the crime videos, let me know. I will watch them more. But let's check it out.
Albuquerque Police, how can I help you?
Yes, this is Harry Gander. I'm at my sister's house, and she's not here. I happen to be able to get a hold of her, and she usually gets back to me because I call her every morning and night, and she has, and the phone has been offline.
Okay. And what's your sister's name?
Marilyn Gander.
This is Albuquerque Police Department. Coming inside, you need to make your presence known. Don't come to the front door with your hands open and empty. Do it now.
Let me know if the audio's good. You fuck with it?
We think we found a body out here.
What?
Somebody has put it on like a mattress or something and burned it. And it looks like it has bones in it, and you can see intestines and guts and.
Like it
What?
looks like it has lips and teeth in there. Okay, yeah. I don't know if it's real or.
I already know what happened.
Tell me what you think.
No, just don't like the way I'm being approached and questioned.
They said, I'm too old. Will you please kill me?
What?
In a city where neighbors waved across fences and morning routines rarely changed, Marilyn Gander stood out not because she demanded attention, but because she was reliable, kind, and consistent. She didn't live dangerously. She didn't seek drama. She delivered the mail, smiled at strangers, fed the dogs along her route, and then, one day, she vanished.
Damn.
When they found her, it wasn't in her neighborhood. It wasn't in her home. It was out on a forgotten back road in Rio Rancho, New Mexico. Desert terrain, empty, silent, and waiting.
Bro, this shit's crazy. This is why, like, bro, you always gotta tell your family you love them. Always give them hugs. When you guys get in an argument, don't hold no pettiness. Like, bro, you never know when it's gonna be their last day, man.
A passerby noticed the smoke. At first, it could have been anything. A brush fire, a pile of debris. But as they got closer, the truth crawled into view. It was a body, burned, charred beyond recognition, left there like garbage. This wasn't a robbery. This wasn't random. This was personal. Marilyn's death wasn't an act of chaos. It was a decision, cold, calculated, and designed to send a message, make her disappear. Because when police began to pull the threads, when they traced Marilyn's final steps and opened the door to her private life, they found something most weren't ready to hear. The people who killed her weren't strangers. They weren't prowlers in the dark. They were family. This is the case of Marilyn.
Her family did it? Oh, no, bro, that just erases everything I just said. Bro. Like, alright, bro. This is a rare case, alright? This is a rare case. Still tell your family you love them, give them hugs, don't hold no petty grudge. This is a rare case, alright?
Gander.
Shit still stands.
And the fire they started to bury her truth
What up, life?
only made it impossible to ignore. Marilyn Rose Gander lived a life that, on the surface, looked simple, quiet, normal. The kind of life you'd drive past without thinking twice, but look closer, and you'd find a woman whose warmth stretched across an entire neighborhood. Born on December 19th, 1952, in Las Vegas, New Mexico, Marilyn grew up in a time where family meant everything, and hard work wasn't a choice. It was a way of life. In her adult life, Marilyn settled in Albuquerque, New Mexico. For over 30 years, she worked as a mail carrier. Marilyn was a caregiver at heart, always offering help when someone needed a hand. She believed in second chances. She believed in family. That generosity, however, came at a cost. Over time, her household became more chaotic. She had taken in her daughter-in-law, her grandson, and a woman connected to them. The people Marilyn had tried to support were no longer just house guests. They were squatters. They didn't pay rent. They didn't respect the space. They damaged her home, drained her resources, and slowly chipped away at the peace she had worked so hard to build. And eventually, she made the hardest decision of all. She told them it was time to leave. As the situation inside Marilyn's home grew tense, those closest to her began to view her not as a protector, but as a barrier.
All right, can you come on out a second? So, what's going on?
I'm moving out.
Okay, what's your name?
Alyssa?
And the owner knows you're here getting
Yeah,
your stuff?
she on Friday, she said come on Saturday morning and get the key.
January 26, 2018 began like any other day in Albuquerque, New Mexico. They didn't see Marilyn Gandert. She hadn't shown up to work. She hadn't called in. Her phone rang but went unanswered. Friends and neighbors knew Marilyn well. She wasn't the type to disappear. She had a route, a rhythm, a quiet discipline to her daily life. Her animals were left unattended. There were no signs of a trip, no messages left behind. A welfare check was requested. Police visited her home. What they found wasn't chaos. It was worse. It was still, lifeless, too clean. The next day across town in Rio Rancho, a man driving down a quiet stretch of desert road saw something unexpected. Smoke drifting low and steady across the landscape. At first it looked like brush fire, but as he got closer, the smell changed. Thick, sour, unmistakable, burning flesh. He stopped his
Bro, I couldn't even imagine what that shit smells like. A burning body, bro. That shit probably smells so bad.
Vehicle and walked cautiously toward the source. What he saw turned his stomach and sent him scrambling for his phone.
We think we found a body out here. Somebody had put it on like a mattress or something and burned it. And it looks like it has bones in it, and you can see intestines and guts. And
It was a human body, badly burned, dumped carelessly in the dirt, charred beyond recognition. There were no clothes, no belongings, no markers of identity. Just scorched earth and horror. Authorities quickly descended on the scene. The area was cordoned off. Crime scene investigators picked through ashes, searching for any shred of evidence the fire hadn't consumed. It was immediately clear this wasn't an accident. This was a deliberate act of destruction. Whoever had done this hadn't just wanted the person dead. They wanted them gone.
Like it looks like it has lips and teeth in there. Okay, yeah. I don't know if it's real or.
Yeah, it's creepy.
It might be exactly what we think it is, so.
Detectives quickly began to connect the dots. A missing woman in Albuquerque, a burned body in Rio Rancho. Dental records were pulled, tissue samples tested. The confirmation came swiftly. The body in the desert was Marilyn Gandert. The realization struck like lightning. A beloved mail carrier, known for her gentleness and consistency, had not simply vanished. She had been murdered, brutally, silently, and dumped like garbage by someone who wanted the world to forget her. But fire doesn't destroy everything. Forensics revealed that accelerants had been used to ignite the blaze. The type of fire starters suggested knowledge, intentional placement to prolong the burn. Yet even in the wake of such deliberate destruction, the body still told its story. Fragments of her clothing had melted into the earth. Her jaw, left partially intact, helped confirm her identity.
What?
Back in Albuquerque, suspicion immediately turned inward. Investigators began looking closely at Marilyn's personal life. The people living under her roof, the ones she had taken in and helped, suddenly became persons of interest. Their behavior during initial questioning had already raised flags.
It just clears a few things up for us.
No, that's fine. I said I'm gonna come by in about an hour for the keys. I don't have like the but I told her when I am, and see, she wasn't answering me, but she doesn't always answer me.
So the last one you got from her
was at 10:35 on the 26th. That was the Friday.
Okay.
But she was here that day, and we were hanging out.
Do you know where she would be right now?
I honestly don't, and that's
because somebody's trying to report her as missing. Because Marilyn is being entered as a missing person, they want us to do a walkthrough on this house.
Okay, that's fine. Perfectly fine. I have no problem.
I appreciate it, Alyssa. It's a box to check.
Wait, so is that her house? Like Marilyn's that's now
right,
deceased?
where are you moving to?
Oh, no.
This one?
I had it a little close. So I was trying to... I'm getting there. You can open that door if you want. That's a closet. She didn't come yesterday, and I expected her to come by, but I didn't think anything of it. I thought, she probably just...
Right.
Sometimes she gets mad and won't even talk to me, so... And she's mad at me, and so... But she has been pretty cordial with me. I said, I'm just trying to get my stuff out.
But now, with the weight of this discovery, detectives started asking harder questions. Why hadn't her family reported her missing? Why were they so calm? And why did their stories not line up? The evidence began to mount. Marilyn had been last seen at home. There was no sign of a break-in, no indication of an outside threat. Whoever had harmed her had access to her home, her trust, and her routine. Investigators grew increasingly confident. This was an inside job. Police obtained surveillance footage, pored over receipts, and analyzed phone data. In time, a chilling sequence began to form. A vehicle matching the description of one owned by Marilyn's grandson was seen traveling toward Rio Rancho late the night she disappeared. Cell tower pings confirmed multiple phones near the burn site. Gasoline purchases were made. Marilyn's phone went dark. And then, the texts. Digital forensics recovered deleted messages between Marilyn's grandson and daughter-in-law. They spoke in fragments, like people trying not to say too much, but saying enough to damn themselves. References to getting her out and handling it echoed with malevolent clarity. What was once a missing person case was now a full-fledged homicide investigation. And the suspects, they weren't strangers. They were the very people Marilyn had opened her door to. The crime was no longer just about violence. It was about betrayal.
Like, bro, that shit is crazy, bro. Like, obviously, I have a grandma myself. Like, bro, they're talking about his grandson. Like, why would you, bro? I couldn't even, like, imagine. Like, what could your grandma possibly do to, like, just go and take her life? Like, bro, that shit is crazy.
Marilyn Gander's identity confirmed and her body pulled from the ashes of the Rio Rancho desert. Investigators faced one critical question. Who did this and why?
That's two questions.
The brutality of the crime pointed to something personal. This wasn't random. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong or a stranger passing through town. This was intimate, controlled, angry. The killer, or killers, had taken time to burn her body, douse it in accelerant, and leave it in a location carefully chosen for its isolation. That level of cruelty didn't feel opportunistic. It felt calculated. Detectives returned to the one place where Marilyn's final hours might make sense, her home. Inside her North Valley residence, everything appeared still, almost untouched. Her personal belongings were neatly in place. There was no sign of forced entry, no blood, no broken furniture. But to the trained eye, that kind of stillness was unnerving. It suggested a quiet crime, something that happened without struggle or with preparation. The first thing investigators noted was who had access to the house. Marilyn had recently been living with her daughter-in-law, her grandson, and a woman connected to them. She had opened her doors to them during hard times, and according to neighbors, they'd been staying with her for months. But recently, things had soured. Marilyn had confided in a friend that she was preparing to evict them. She said they were disrespecting her property. She was tired of the mess, the damage, the lack of rent, and the growing tension inside her own walls. When police asked the trio about Marilyn's whereabouts, their answers were vague and scattered. Her grandson said he hadn't seen her since the previous day.
When's the last time you talked to your grandma?
He just looks sus.
I would say 3 or 4 days ago.
So, your grandma, we found her, but she's dead.
Where at?
Well, we believe.
Oh yeah, he's fucking guilty. Look at him. Where at? Like, bro, man, throw this dude in prison. Never even let him see like the day of light again, bro. Light of day, bro.
Okay, we think someone killed her.
When?
And I'm really
sorry.
sorry.
He's guilty, bro.
The daughter-in-law claimed she thought Marilyn had gone to run errands. The third woman shrugged, offering no information at all. None of them appeared alarmed. None of them had reported her missing. And when they spoke, something was missing. The lack of concern set off alarms for investigators. Their stories didn't match. Their timelines had gaps, and none of them seemed interested in who had murdered the woman who had housed and fed them for months. Detectives pulled phone records. Marilyn's phone had gone dark the evening of January 25th, hours before her body was found. Her grandson's phone, on the other hand, was active. So were the others. Cell tower data placed all three individuals in the vicinity of Rio Rancho late that night. The triangulation lined up almost exactly with the burn site. They hadn't reported her missing because they already knew where she was. Investigators secured search warrants for Marilyn's home, and the vehicle registered to the grandson.
Okay, we actually have to secure the house.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get all my stuff out.
Okay.
Like,
All right, so unfortunately, I can't let you go back inside.
I have things in there.
Unfortunately, I can't.
So she says.
This is the Albuquerque Police Department. Make your presence known. Make your presence known now.
Inside the house, there were subtle signs of a rushed cleanup. The kitchen smelled faintly of bleach. Trash had been taken out. Bedding had been changed.
What?
Yet there was a strange tension in the air, like the walls themselves were holding their breath. The real discovery came inside the vehicle. Forensics revealed traces of gasoline on the seats. A single strand of Marilyn's hair was recovered from the trunk. And under the floor mat, partially melted into the lining, was a button from what was later confirmed to be one of Marilyn's work uniforms. That was all investigators needed to bring the suspects in for formal questioning.
Your story doesn't match. That's
Try to make sure they're not
that's
too
what's
bad, okay?
going on. This officer's going to transport you there. You're going to meet with another detective, and we're going to sit down and have a chat, okay?
One by one, they were interviewed. One by one, they broke. The third woman cracked first.
God
Under
damn,
pressure,
buddy, take
she
care of
admitted
yourself.
they had gotten rid of Marilyn.
We all were in Alyssa's room getting high. That's pretty much when Alyssa, like, she had brought it up before about killing Marilyn. I still didn't think we were gonna do it. Like, I thought she was joking.
No, you didn't.
Like, can you just let us stay? Look at my mom packing. She was like, no. Alyssa looked at me and Drake and nodded, and I looked at Drake, and he started like walking behind Marilyn, and I got Marilyn and from behind and took her down.
Bro.
She claimed it wasn't supposed to go that far. She said it started with an argument over rent and escalated, but her version of events quickly unraveled. The grandson followed, eventually confessing that the murder had been planned.
I'm gonna tell you the honesty. My grandmother said, I'm too old. Will you please kill me?
No, she
Multiple
didn't.
times, drunk and sober.
Okay.
That is honestly, like that.
Bro,
is
why is he like
honestly-
smiling like
He was
shit's
tired
funny?
of being told what to do, tired of being treated like a child. When Marilyn finally stood her ground and demanded they leave her house, they decided, together, to make sure she'd never speak again. They lured her into a vulnerable situation, overpowered her, killed her. Then they wrapped her body, placed it in the trunk, and drove her into the desert. They doused her with gasoline, they lit the fire, and they left her there, believing that the flames would cover their tracks. But what they didn't know is that fire can destroy the body, but not the truth. With the confessions, the forensic evidence, the cell records, and the text messages pointing to motive and intent, the case was sealed. The people Marilyn had once called family, the ones she cooked for, paid for, sheltered, had not only betrayed her, they had extinguished her life. But justice was just beginning to ignite. By the time the case reached court, the public already knew the broad strokes. The story had circulated through Albuquerque like wildfire. How a beloved mail carrier vanished, how her body was found burned in the desert, and how her own family members were charged with the crime. But the full weight of the tragedy didn't settle in until the trial began. People wanted answers. They wanted justice. And most of all, they wanted to understand how something so monstrous could come from within a home built on kindness. The courtroom was packed as the trial opened. On one side sat Marilyn Gondert's surviving friends and distant relatives, grieving, quiet, holding photographs and tissues. On the other side sat the accused, her grandson, her daughter-in-law, and their female accomplice, each flanked by attorneys. No one wore tears. No one showed regret. The prosecution wasted no time laying out the facts. They painted a devastating timeline, one that began with a grandmother offering her home to a family in need, and ended with that same family conspiring to end her life. They showed the jury text messages recovered from deleted threads, conversations filled with anger, resentment, and ominous intent. In one message, the daughter-in-law referred to Marilyn as a burden and a manipulative old woman. The grandson wrote, "She thinks she can control us. Not anymore." The prosecution brought forward investigators who testified about the cell tower data, placing all 3 suspects near the Rio Rancho burn site. Crime scene experts explained the gasoline residues found in the vehicle and the remains of Marilyn's postal uniform discovered inside the trunk. Forensic analysts broke down how accelerants had been strategically used to try and destroy the body. Clear evidence that this wasn't a heat-of-the-moment act, but a carefully orchestrated crime. Then came the confessions. Clips from police interrogations were played. The jury heard the accomplice describe how they had planned the murder, how Marilyn was lured, overpowered, and killed. Her words were cold, robotic, like she was describing a scene from a film, not the real execution of a human being. The grandson's confession was even more disturbing. He spoke of control, of feeling disrespected by his grandmother, of wanting to teach her a lesson. When asked if he felt remorse, he paused and said, "It had to be done." The defense tried to claim that the grandson...
Bro, I'm not even gonna lie. He said it had to be done. Bro, don't even put this dude in jail. You need to take him out too, bro. Like, bring back the electric chair, fucking something. Or like them like torture methods. Like, bro, this shit is crazy.
...had been manipulated by the others. That he was young. That he didn't fully understand the consequences. They tried to paint the daughter-in-law as emotionally unstable, under immense stress, not capable of forming intent. They claimed the accomplice was acting on her own rage, pulling the others down with her. But none of it held up, not against the evidence, not against the recorded words that laid out exactly what they had planned and executed. The trial lasted 2 weeks, but the deliberation took less than 2 days. The jury returned with guilty verdicts across the board. Marilyn's grandson was convicted of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and tampering with evidence. He was sentenced to 26 years in prison.
Bro, 26 years? Bro, this man's gonna get out when he's like 40. Bro, this shit is crazy. Bro, how is he gonna be able to step foot out of like prison at all? Like, bro, he should never be out of there ever.
The maximum allowed under his plea agreement.
That shit is
The
crazy.
daughter-in-law received a similar sentence after being convicted of conspiracy and second-degree murder. The accomplice, who had cooperated slightly earlier in the investigation, received a reduced but still substantial sentence for her role. None of them apologized during sentencing. They sat motionless as the judge read their punishments, offering no final words, no closure, no recognition of the life they had taken. For those who loved Marilyn, justice had been served, but it did not come with peace. How could it? What comfort could be found in knowing that the people she trusted the most were the very ones who plotted her death? The prosecutor closed the trial with a statement that echoed across the courtroom. This wasn't just a murder, it was a betrayal of the deepest kind. Marilyn gave everything to these people, and when she asked for respect, they gave her fire. And with that, the case of Marilyn Gandert, a grandmother, a mail carrier, and a woman of quiet strength, came to its legal conclusion. But for those who sat in that courtroom and heard every word, the story would never truly be over. The courtroom had gone quiet. The verdicts were in. The killers had been sentenced. But outside the walls of the courthouse,
Bro,
the pain was only beginning
she's
to set in.
smiling?
Because for those who knew and loved Marilyn Gandert, there was no real
How
closure.
far did I go back?
Only the grim finality of knowing she was
Oh.
gone.
That's why I wasn't going back.
The killer.
Right here, bro. What? Like, is she smiling in her mugshot, bro? Like, what? Like, why is she so jolly, bro? So weird.
Had been sentenced. But outside the walls of the courthouse of Marilyn Gandert, there was no real closure. Only the grim finality of knowing she was gone, and that her end had come not at the hands of some stranger, but from within her own home. In the weeks following the trial, her North Valley neighborhood carried the weight of the loss like a heavy fog. Marilyn's absence was felt on every porch, every mailbox, every quiet morning that should have included her soft footsteps and familiar smile. Residents began leaving flowers in their mailboxes. Some posted handwritten notes on their doors. "We miss you, Marilyn." Others placed tiny American flags along her old route, honoring her years of service in a way no ceremony could match. Her co-workers at the United States Postal Service held a private vigil. They remembered her as dependable, kind, and full of quiet pride in her work.
Somebody who dedicated themselves to their customers and was always there to provide great customer service.
Stories were shared of how she used to carry treats for dogs along her route, how she would check in on elderly residents, and how she never once complained about the job.
Saw the good in people and good in a lot of things, no matter what she went through.
Even in the worst weather. One colleague simply said, she showed up, always. But underneath the grief lay something harder to face, the betrayal. Marilyn had opened her home to the very people who would destroy her. Her kindness had been mistaken for weakness. And when she finally drew a boundary, when she said, enough, it cost her her life.
I mean, we already got the story. Hey, this is a sad, sad story, but hey, be careful out there. This is like one of my first crime videos I think I reacted to. If you want to see more crime videos, let me know.